Good morning and happy Monday. It is January 12th and it is my first time back on social media with a real visible presence since the end of last year. One of my last posts on Facebook anyway was that God had me in a season of stillness and silence in the last part of 2025, and it was such a purposeful time to just like be still, to clear out all distractions. Relationships were ending, the holidays were coming. I was going through a shift, entering into another version of myself, an evolved version, an elevated version of myself for this new season. And I remember saying that I felt like I was in this in-between space, and I didn't quite know what that meant. I really didn't have all the words for it because I was figuring it out. However, what it meant was that I was in transition. I was in this space of the old version and the new version of myself, the old season and the new season. God was really uprooting some deep things in myself from a healing perspective and from a habit and mindset and behavior perspective. And then, like I said, having to end certain relationships, shift in certain relationships, and get to this place of acceptance of all of that. Then, come holidays, I was like in a huge reflective mode where I was really looking at what 2025 was. And 2025 was a purposeful year, all the way around, and it was a hard year. It was one of the hardest years I've ever experienced as an adult. A lot of beautiful things happened. A lot of great things happened. I launched my book and did the book signing. That was like really amazing and transformational, and the event was so amazing. And I'm very proud of myself for that. I did some other things, like I created and produced a lot of products that I'll be launching this year, which I'm super excited to get into and to start talking about. There was loss, like actual death. My aunt passed last February, so it's crazy that we're coming up on a year. Right before Thanksgiving, that grief hit me like a ton of bricks, and I didn't expect it, and I was just sad. I was so sad, and I was just like, wow, because it was the reality that she's not here, this first big holiday since she's passed. And Thanksgiving, I feel like, was one of her things. And then just started making me think about my grandparents, and like we celebrated 11 years of my grandmother being gone, and then this January 5 years of my grandfather being gone. And I was close with all three of them because I'm a relationship person. And then, like I said, these two relationships, a person that I deeply love still today, right, like it just wasn't working, and we was on this merry-go-round over like 11 years, and it was just a lot. And it was just like, man, I was so sad that we tried it again and it still didn't work out. It was probably the best time that we've had together. We were the best versions of ourselves. But man, the grief of that just not working out and having to accept that it probably will never work out, and I'm just not going to be open to it again. You know what I mean? Like, that hurt my feelings. I'm still grieving from that. There was some anger from that too, like to like open that back up and to not really be as responsible as we should have been with this, however many chance it was. And then another relationship that was, oh my gosh, y'all, rooted in confusion from start to finish. The reality that really impacted my nervous system was something else. Like, it was a great lesson. It wasn't all bad. Like, I deeply care about that person too, but wow, like, whoa. Ain't nobody coming to me with confusion at all again. I gotta listen to my first mind, right? But it was purposeful because there was a lot of lessons, and I'm a person that, like, everybody is a teacher, and like everybody got a season. That was a short season, but it was like 5 months. Oh my God. And it was just, ooh, it was a doozy. But going forward, I'll be doing things differently also. And even though I know that needed to end, it still hurt like hell to end it, because like on both of those situations, I was the one who ended things, you know. And there's a responsibility that comes with having to be the one, or choosing to be the one, to put a period on something. Like, I was upset and angry with that, because like, why do I have to be the person that ends something that we both know isn't working, right? Like, there is responsibility with making executive decisions, but you know what, that comes with leadership. That comes with leadership. I mean, like, but you know, as a woman, I get tired of always having to be the one to make those decisions. Nonetheless, it happened, grieving that, and then shifts in relationships, friendships. As I was going through my grief, you know, I was transitioning from being this strong version of Kiana to a softer version of Kiana, and being more vocal with my vulnerabilities and my needs, which was very new for me. And having done it and literally saying what I need clearly, I had to come to this realization after talking with different people and friends that when you introduce a new version of yourself to people, you have to give them time to catch up to this new version. And that oftentimes looks like them not showing up the way that you would like them to show up. And that's what happened. When I was at my saddest, and maybe even lowest, because I really, really, really needed and was allowing myself to receive the support that I have always wanted, but never said I needed or even allowed. Let's be clear. I would take accountability that I was learning how to receive and never allow like my tribe to really show up for me. But because I'm growing and evolving and continuing to heal, becoming this highest and best version of myself, right? Like I entered into that season and it wasn't received the way I thought it would be, and that was a hard pill to swallow, because like I had expectations of people and they didn't meet them, right? And it hurt my feelings, and I sat with it, and then I was able to vocalize, because sometimes, you know, I'm not a shy person with confrontation, because I know how to handle conflict. You know, I'm a conflict resolution person, but sometimes it's just like I don't vocalize everything that I'm feeling because I have grace. I let things go, but I didn't want to let that go. I wanted people to know that, like, yeah, I hurt too. My feelings are hurt because you didn't show up for me when I really needed you. And I don't even oftentimes, like, rarely never say when I need people. You know what I mean? So nonetheless, the lessons in that this isn't a blame thing. This is a me learning that, you know, grace has many layers and levels. And even though my feelings with her, I still operated in grace, and accepted that, like, I need to, like, shift expectations. And sometimes I don't even have expectations. I think expectations and standards are different. Like, I have standards in relationships, but expectations, because not everybody has the capacity or knows how to show up for you in the ways that you need, especially when you're introducing them to a new version of you who is someone who actually does allow support, where for the majority of my life I've not allowed support, right? So that was a realization, and it hurt my feelings, right? You know what I mean? And I'm still like, wow, you know, even today it's like, you know, these relationships have shifted, and I've always been a person, or I've come to become a person of accepting that in different seasons you have different friends who are close, in more close proximity, and people in general in your life. God brings you to people who are most aligned in every season. And then also on the flip side, there were people that showed up that I was just like, wow, they sensed. God sent people who sensed that there were things going on with me, and I'm so grateful, forever grateful for those people. Forever grateful in a day, in a year, in eons. Like, those people were just like so supportive, cover me in prayer. You know what I mean? Interceded and held me accountable to receiving, you know what I'm saying, to like embodying reciprocity, where I've prayed for that, where I would receive what I give, and then here they come, and I was faced with receiving, right? Like, and like when you have been a person who's not received or even been taught how to receive, you can say that you want to receive all day, but to actually embody that is really, it's a task in and of itself. So nonetheless, like, man, the end of last year was something. And then on top of that, just being still, being silent, I did a number of fasts and like was really listening for God's voice and like what is to come, how does he want me to move, you know, the clarity that I needed. And I produced and created so much. And so what I will be introducing this year in terms of product and offerings and services, I'm so excited, y'all. Like, I mean, like, the year has started off with a lot of great momentum and, you know, building the infrastructure for everything. So just be on the lookout for all of that. So growth is something else. Transformation. This morning I had a download and revelation while I was doing devotion that patience and long suffering have been two things, which they're one and the same. Long suffering sounds worse, so I say patience, but even patience embodied is hard, you know what I'm saying? So be careful what you pray for, because God will test you. But nonetheless, like I would like reject long suffering, but God has been testing me in that and building my endurance in patience and long suffering. And this morning as I was reading devotion, like, God will take you through seasons where he shows you yourself, where he isolates you and puts you in solitude, which was my still and silent season. He shows you yourself, good, bad, ugly, and different. This is not the first time I've been in a season of God showing me, giving me like the whole movie on Kiana's life. The first time that happened was in 2023. But this is another level and layer deeper, okay? Because everything's on the spectrum. And he revealed to me this morning that transformation is long suffering. And that's like, that was deep and profound to me, because he's absolutely right. You know, transformation takes time. It is many different layers and levels and phases of self. And if you are a faith-led person, right, like you are really dying of your flesh and of yourself and of the identity that you've created for yourself to assume the identity in person that God created us to be. And that's what I've been on this journey for years. But my God, the insight that he gives us when we're ready, whew, y'all, just God is so purposeful and so intentional. And so anyhow, I was supposed to create this video last week, and I have been fighting visibility. Oh my God, y'all, when I say I'm sensitive, I am sensitive. My spirit is sensitive. My heart is sensitive. And there is a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on in, you know, what's near and what's far and on social media. And I'm just like, I got my own stuff going on. I don't really need access to anybody else's. But God keeps telling me that, like, he's put something on the inside of me. All this work ain't for nothing. It's for other people. And, like, you know, a lot of preachers talk about it. Pastor Mike McLeod Jr., PMJ, he's at top of mind. But he said, and the Bible says, our fruit is not for us. It's for other people. So I am reminded by that. And that's what gives me conviction and activation to stop hiding, so that what is on the inside of me that God placed there can be released into the world, because it is so great. I know what I have on the inside of me. I know what I'm capable of. I've been doing amazing things for years, right? But I'm in a new version of myself, and it's a new territory. And so what I've been sitting with is that as we keep elevating and evolving, we got to keep elevating and evolving our confidence for the new versions that we continue to become on this becoming path, right? And I'm in acceptance and in agreement and in alignment with what I am called to do And this next phase is called taking up space in a way that I've never taken up space. And it's scary sometimes because of what comes with that, right? Like, I have been a runner in the past. I talk about it in my book. I've talked about it on panels and other things, that I've been a runner because of the weight that comes with the vision that God has given me. And I've been really sitting with like the vision that God gave me in 2018 that I have been working this long to finally get in acceptance and agreement and alignment with, because the weight always felt like too much for me to bear. But he's like, you can't do it on your own. You have to do it with me, not apart from me, but with me, in partnership with me. And so, I had to sit with like that. I don't suffer from imposter syndrome because, again, I know what I'm capable of. I believe in myself. I've seen me, I've had outer body experiences at being able to see myself do what I do, what I'm gifted at. The opposite of that is self-sabotage. Now, I had to sit with that in the last 2 weeks he gave me. And I've kind of known that, but I only looked at it in terms of romantic partnership. But in general, like, I could be so much further than I am, y'all. And I've done a lot. And I've done more than a lot of people. But what is my destiny? I could be so much further, but because of my fear of success, not even of failure, of success, and fear of all that I can be, I've self-sabotaged jobs, opportunities, like so many things, because I'm like, I'm not ready for this visibility. I'm not ready for that responsibility. I'm not ready, right? And I'm like, girl, bye. Like, we ain't doing that no more. You 37 and you've done a lot of work, a lot of healing, and now let's see the fruits of that labor, right? And like, pick up your mantle, right? Pick up your cross, do what you gotta do. And every time that I get in that bag and I remember that, it's easy, because it's like second nature, because it's in me, right? It's already done. So anyways, I'm being very honest and vulnerable with y'all, because these are the things that I've been having to work through to conquer this year, because 2026 is going to be amazing. What me and God have created for the people he's called to me and called me to is going to be transformational. And I don't say that from a biased perspective, but like, when I look at the frameworks that we have created for those people, because my life is the curriculum, I'm like, this is like, where was this at when you was taking me through, when you was making me surrender? Where was all of this at? And he's like, you had to be the one to create the thing for those kind of people. So, my life is a testimony. Your life is a testimony. All of our lives are testimonies. And like, this video, me making this video, when I tell you it has taken me so long to just sit here and do this, it's quite ridiculous when you think about it, because it's like, what are you afraid of? You know what I mean? Hopefully you know what I mean. Hopefully people are resonating with this. But the reason I even got to this place of creating this video is because I got to a meeting space and I'm having to wait. See how purposeful God is? And what was dropped in my spirit was, you can't run no more. You gotta just make the video, Kiana. Stop tripping. Like, you know what I mean? What are you worried about? So I trust God's timing, because his timing is so perfect. I have a reverence now for the process, because it's not in vain. It is so intentional. And you can't get certain downloads or insights until you get to a certain place of surrender and maturity to be able to receive. And I understand that so clearly now. And one of the other things, because I have also gone back and listened to some of the podcasts from my former podcast called Tears, Ties, and Transformation I did with my friend Bridget. Because we continue to get better, wiser, more mature, I listen back on those podcasts like, girl, you knew nothing. Now, I knew a lot then. I mean, it still was transformational, and it resonated with a lot of people, and it was healing for a lot of people and myself then. But I'm just saying, I say that to create an example, or provide an example of the levels and layers that we go. The wisdom that I have now, the maturity that I have now, the insight and understanding and knowledge that I have now, it is eons greater than it was then. And it makes me excited to continue to go on this journey of life and evolution and elevation, and to see how I will continue to get better, wiser, smarter, more courageous, more confident, more aligned with the call over my life, with the purpose that was, agreed upon before I was a thought of my mother's womb. One of the things that God continues to confirm and affirm with why I matter in the world, what my contribution is I am a truth teller and a storyteller of the process, not the product. A lot of people see the product. A lot of books are about the product, the success, the end goal. People want the process. They want to know how you got there, right? They want to know the highs and the lows, especially the lows. How do you overcome the lows? How do you overcome the insecurities? How do you overcome these thoughts, these things, the trauma from childhood that impacts us in our adult life? We got to get to the root, right? And so God has created me to be a root worker, as a macro social worker, as a storyteller, as an author, as a speaker, as a creator, as a builder. And so again, I've come into acceptance with that, and this new version of myself, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm excited. And so in all of that, right, in all of the complexities of who Kiana is, in this really tight season that I've been in, and the discomfort, the character development has been so amazing. Who I am as a person at the core, internally, chef's kiss. I love who I have become. I love who I'm becoming, and I cannot wait to meet all the other versions of my future self. But in the meantime, in between time, this version of myself, man, baby is bad. She's sharp, she is pretty dope. And that's not externally. I'm talking about internally, holistically. I'm so happy to be here. So be on the lookout for all the things I have coming, and it's gonna be a great year. God told me that 2026 is a year of prosperity. Going back all the way to, I think, 2024, he was just like, 2024 was a power, no. Yeah, he said 2024 was a purposeful year. 2025 was a powerful year. And 2026 is a year of prosperity. Oh, and going back to 2023, that was a pruning year. 2025 was somewhat of a pruning year as well, because baby, shedding, pruning, stretching, breaking, all of that, it's real. So I'll see y'all in a few with all the updates.